Failure is not the opposite of success, it's part of success. Arianna Huffington. On today's episode, I'm speaking with a young man who stumbled into business while looking for something to help his mother's serious illness. His many revelations on his journey has led him to a seven-figure business and an unwavering confidence, even in the midst of failure. Welcome to the Stitch for Success podcast, where we are teaching business and life lessons that will help you launch, grow, or scale your creative business. I am Monica Allen, and I'm a wife, mom, daughter, entrepreneur, author, friend, lifelong learner, and host of this podcast. For over 8 years, I was stuck in corporate and dreamt of escaping. Creating a side hustle with just $700 and having taken the leap over 15 years ago, we have since grown multiple six-figure and seven-figure brands. Being an entrepreneur for over 18 years has afforded me many successes and a few failures. I want to share those with you so you can grow and be successful in your business. This episode is brought to you by Zeus's Closet. Do you wear clothes with your company's logo on them? Do you give your clients or customers promotional products to help them remember you and your team? Here at Zeus's Closet, we're like a tattoo shop for your clothes and more. We help many companies provide their entire team with branded apparel for themselves and promotional products to leave with clients and customers. Wearing branded apparel helps colleagues feel like part of a team and makes your company look more professional. Visit Zeus'sCloset.com today for your branded apparel needs. Becoming an entrepreneur at the age of 19 with no degree or experience in business. Today, I'm joined by Gian-Carlo Torres. This was such a great conversation. Starting 4 years ago, he grew his business to over seven figures in 2020. I know that oftentimes at the beginning of a new year, we have a goal of starting a new endeavor or starting a business for the first time. Giancarlo shares with us his insights into MLMs or multi-level marketing companies. I was interested in this topic because it is not something I know much about, and MLMs are sometimes viewed as negative enterprises. But stick around and check out Giancarlo's story, and you can decide for yourself. Please note that this episode is not an endorsement for the product or company that Giancarlo works for. But if you are an aspiring business owner, I do feel it is imperative that you are aware of all of your options. Please take a listen to my interview with Giancarlo. Welcome to the Stitch for Success podcast, Gian-Carlo Torres. I'm so glad to have you here with me today.
Oh, it's my pleasure, Monica. Really, I'm thrilled.
I am as well. And you have told me that I can call you Gianco for short.
That's right.
Because you're a friend of mine now. We know each other. And I'm about to get to know you better. So I'm so excited to have you here. So tell me, when you started your business, what problem were you trying to solve?
Well, before I even get there, I was actually trying to solve a personal problem, a family problem. So my mom was going through an illness and I was broke. So two problems there, no money and health issues. So by trying to solve our problems, we discovered a product that literally helped my mom get out of bed. So from there, the product makes sense to me. It's like Warren Buffett always says, invest in business that you understand. I understood the product. I understood what it did. I understood how it helped people. And then from there, my mom and I actually made the decision to help a lot of people with this product. So first, it was our problem. We solved it. The product and the service solved it for us. And then I went to solve it to other people. So basically, the problems that we solve and the main problem that we solve is immune system. That's kind of where we're focused on. Of course, there's energy, there's detoxification, anti-aging, and all these things. But the main thing we solve is immune system problems. And we help healthy people stay healthy. And people that are not so healthy, we also help them get back on track. Okay.
So tell me, what is the product? I want to know.
Yeah, of course. So the products are called Immunocal and Immunocal Platinum. Okay. The story is fascinating. So it was discovered 40 years ago by Italian scientists. And his goal, Monica, and for everybody that is listening, his goal was to find a protein that would help cancer patients. So what happens? Okay. His mother had died of cancer. So he realized, and I'm not sure if you've realized this, Monica, or your audience, people that are in the last stages of cancer, they usually start to lose a lot of weight. So
Mm-hmm.
he was trying to find a protein that would prevent that. That was it. So what happens? In this process, he was such a well-recognized scientist in the whole world that they actually paid him to investigate. So a company from Switzerland sends him a box of protein and says, look, we have no idea what use this protein will have. Try it, see what happens. So he says, okay. So, like in any lab, they start feeding the mice. And he saw that the mice immune system went super high. He was like, interesting. Mm-hmm. And he kept testing on the mice. And what he realized, the mice that were on this protein, and this is the most fascinating part about the story, were living 50% longer. That was his aha moment. So basically, his moment was, wait a second, did I just find a protein that can help people live 50% longer? That was the question he was asking himself. So he started testing it in human beings. He saw the same results. And he wondered, what is this protein doing that other proteins are not doing? And this process of trying on human and seeing results and investigation and science, he discovered that this protein was raising a molecule in our body called glutathione. And that's when he was like, glutathione, let me investigate about that. And that's when everything started.
So I'm fascinated. And I know we're here to kind of talk more about the business, but I do have some questions to circle back to. One, how's your mom?
Fantastic. She's, every time I'm with her, I have to tell people that she's my mom, not my sister. She's, she looks, of course she loves it, for her, it's like amazing. For me, it's like, sometimes even confuse her as my wife. That's the most horrible thing in the world. But again, she looks so good and she feels so good. So that's of course, good. Like her health is not perfect, obviously, but she's extremely, she has a lot of energy and she could do everything she wants. So I'm gonna thank you for asking, and she's doing super good.
That's great. And so, like, when you found out she was sick, you went out and started doing this research on your own to see what you can find.
Correct.
So then my question is, and then we'll talk more about the business side, but I always find it fascinating. I run into people sometimes and they're like, oh, there's definitely things to help cancer patients. And I know, of course, people talk chemotherapy and things like that, but why is this not as prevalent as one would think it should be?
By prevalent, do you mean as in like known?
Yes. And maybe I'm just under the rock, but
yeah. No. That's a great question. And everything, like John Maxwell says, he says everything rises and falls on leadership. Okay. Mm-hmm. This company, Immunotec, has been around for 23 years or so. Mm-hmm. But for the longest time, the company was very conservative. They wouldn't really grow so much worldwide. They kind of stayed in Canada, US. It was a very, low approach. And that's a problem in entrepreneurship. And I know, like, we'll talk about this, in entrepreneurship, if you have a good product and you have a good service, you have to do your best to tell the whole world. And that's my mentality. And I think this company didn't have that for the longest time. But recently, we changed CEOs. Okay. And our CEO now, Mauricio Domenstein, he's a big thinker. And he realized, wait a second, this is the best product in the world. Everybody has to know about it. And since that shift of mindset, now we're in 12 countries. A lot of people are talking about it. There's a lot of stories. So, it was just leadership problems. But now the leadership is fantastic. And the goal, honestly, is that everybody has a box of Immunical in the whole world. It's a big, audacious goal, but we're positive it's going to work.
Gotcha. And so now I know you started your business when you're 19.
Correct.
When you were 19. So how old are you now?
23.
23. Been an entrepreneur for 4 years. Awesome. So tell me, how the company's been around for 23 years. What's your title with them? How are you an independent contractor? Are you a franchise? What type of model are you in with the business?
Great question. And, before I answer this question, I want to give you a little story of why I even started this type of business. When I graduated from high school, my dream was always to become an entrepreneur. Always. Yeah. And for a lot of reasons. First of all, I've always been a naturally big thinker, and I've always known that to help and grow, one of the best ways to do this is to be in a business and help a lot of people. That has always been in me since I'm little. And I've realized that I've never been a really, a great employee. So I said, hey, if I'm not a great employee, maybe I'll be a great entrepreneur. Okay. And then I was, of course, in a broke situation, and I had to make the decision, am I going to study something, which is very valuable, oh, where I start a business. My heart was starting a business. But what's the problem? And I know a lot of people go through these problems, Monica. To start a business requires knowledge, requires risk and money. I had none of the three. You're following me? Like when I would Google how to start a business, the minimum investment to start a business is like $10,000, kind of. Okay, you're like, that's kind of like a rough number, but usually it takes $5 to $10 to start a business. And to maintain a business, you have to keep investing every single month with great risk, great knowledge. You don't know, like if you're going to succeed. So I think for a little bit, I kind of almost gave up in the pursuit of wanting to become an entrepreneur because like all these scary numbers and scary stories came, but in my heart I still want to be one. So what happens? Then I discovered the direct sales industry. That's what changed my mind, because I realized that through a direct sales company like Immunotec, I could start a business under $1,000. The company would ship for me. The company would give me the back office. They would expand, and my job would be to sell product. Okay, like I make a little commission. And then build a company of raving fan customers and consultants that also love and share the product. This was a better model for my situation. Gotcha. And this is a model that a lot of people don't understand. Some people even criticize it. But once you find a great company, you find a great product and a great leadership. For me, this is the best entrepreneurial vehicle in the world because it's low risk. So think about this. If someone invests, let's say, less than $1,000 to start a business with me. Okay. Let's say after a little bit, they realize it's not for them. Cool. No problem. Guess what? The risk was under $1,000. That's it. Now, if someone started, for example, a franchise, they have to spend 20, 40, 50, 100, $1 million sometimes to start a franchise. There's huge risk and stress. They have to sacrifice their family. They have to sacrifice their kids. And that's like a lot of things. So when I found this model, I was like, this is for me. And then like I went all forward for it. I failed a lot, but it was part of the journey, and it's still part of the journey.
Right.
And from starting from zero, again, broke, from having I'm a business that sells more than 7 figures a year.
Did you say 7 figures?
Yep.
That's fantastic. That's really good. And that's your particular sector of the business. You're doing more than 7 figures.
Correct.
That's fantastic. Okay. So now how is direct sales? How is this different? Because you mentioned, sometimes people have negative things to say. How is it different, or is it different from multi-level marketing?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it's the same model.
The same model. Okay.
Multi-level marketing. Yeah. There's 3 names basically. Okay. There's network marketing, there's multi-level marketing, and there's direct sales. It's the same thing. Okay.
Okay.
Some people want to hide from the fact that we're multi-level marketing. I don't. I just say direct sales because it's more of a broad name for our industry. Okay. Mm-hmm. But multi-level marketing, is a way to say it. And, there's skepticism for good reasons. I'm going to be honest. Okay. Mm-hmm. And a lot of the skepticism comes from our fault. I'll give you an example. Most distributors in our industry, they overpromise and underdeliver. It's the main problem. Okay. There's a product. They say that cures everything. They say that's the best thing ever. And then they treat the business like magic beans. You just put the beans and it grows in a month. So when you get these expectations, Monica, and for everybody that's listening, they get excited, and then in a month they're so disappointed. They say, you know what? There's a scam, it's a pyramid scheme, and it's all these things that are not true about our industry. Okay, right. But because that's the distributor's fault. The second thing why we have, or for me, we used to have a worse name. Now it's getting a lot better. Is because of bad companies. Bad CEOs. Like I know people that started a company. Or, for example, they signed up as a distributor for a company, started to make great money. I don't know where CEO closed the company. Wow. So now you lost your whole income, you lost everything, and that gives you a bad taste. Okay, and again, there's been bad products and bad CEOs, and all these things. But little by little, we're fixing the industry. And what's my message for everybody that doesn't know about network marketing, who has a bad taste with network marketing or multi-level marketing, is, hey, you know what? We're an imperfect industry, like every industry in the world. We've made a lot of issues, like most companies, in the world. Mm-hmm. But again, if you find a good company with good leadership, because it's all about leadership, if you find a good company with good, you manage expectations. Okay, you manage your expectations. Hey, you know what? This is like a franchise. It might take you a couple of years. It's like a franchise, truly. It might take a couple of years. You find a great product. you commit, and you see that, hey, the only way you get paid and your team get paid is through product sales, then that becomes like any business in the world. So it's all about due diligence. If you do your due diligence and you make the commitment to, hey, do this part-time or full-time, or like me, you're like, I just went all the way, then, you can get them a fantastic result.
Yeah. I think you've made some really great points in there, and you're right. It actually goes to any business, the whole thought of over promising and under delivering. In corporate America, I work with salespeople who did that all the time, and it would drive me crazy because I'd say, no, we can't do that. That's not even in the rules. But because they were trying to push a sale, they would often promise things that wasn't there. So that's in many businesses, big businesses, small businesses, lots of businesses. And then with anything, like you mentioned, research. You have to research, even if you're going out on your own and you're starting a brand new business with your own product or your own service, you still have to research. You have to research about what you're doing. You have to research the market. And something that you drilled in on is believing in the product, believing in the service, whatever it is you're doing. If you don't believe in it, then there's no way it's going to be successful if you don't even believe in it. So I don't know much about direct sales and multi-level marketing. So that's why I really wanted to ask you the questions, because I do think it's important for people to understand whether there is a difference, whether there isn't a difference, but also if it's something they do want to try, just to have an open conversation about it. And especially doing their due diligence. That's really important.
Yeah, no, I agree. And when you research about our industry, for example, you have to know where you're getting the info. Okay, so any hater, honestly, can create a blog talking bad about our industry.
Correct.
And you can read it and get scared and say, oh my God, it's the worst industry in the world, I'm going to lose my money and all these things. But you always have to see who's behind writing that blog. Maybe it's someone who has no idea what we do. Maybe it's someone who's getting paid to write that for no reason. Or maybe it's someone who bought the kit, never did anything. But you have to get info from correct sources, from people that are successful, from I'm a direct sales, I'm a website. Once you get, again, like you said, the right info, then you can say, you know what? I had this idea about network marketing, multi-level marketing, direct sales, but I get it now. There was just bad companies and bad people speaking things that honestly were not true sometimes. But if I found the right people and the right companies, things would be pretty positive. So, I think that's super important. Once you want to make a decision, you have to see this decision. Is it based on because a friend told me, or because a blog said, or is it because a professional on this industry or the direct sales website that talks about the company, talks about what not to do is telling me. So I think that's super important when doing network marketing. Where are you getting your sources of investigation? And then once you find the right places to investigate, you're going to make a good decision.
Gotcha. And what do you tell people who may join your company when it comes to success? Like, what does success look like for someone who decides to join your company? What time frame does that look like? I'm sure people ask you these questions. I know the answer I probably would give, but what do you say?
So, when someone decides to do the business with me, okay, I always try to manage their expectation. That's the first thing I try to do. I don't want them to come and then think in a month they're going to earn $5,000 a month. It's just not going to happen. Okay, unless you have crazy influence and crazy contacts, and yeah, maybe, but it's just not going to happen. So people have to understand that, people will give it 5 years to build a franchise, but they won't give it 3 months to do this business. They have to understand expectations. So with this, I also manage their mindset. It sounds like a motivational speech, Monica, but it's not. Mindset is everything. Okay, there were people that joined the same day I joined, Monica, and they gave up a month later. And there are people that joined like me and gave it 4 years and gave it time and became successful. That's all mindset in the end. We had the same opportunity, same time, same product, same comp plan. Some succeed, some don't. Why? Some decide to learn the industry and fail forward. Some decide, this isn't for me. I don't like it. And they give up on it. That's mindset. So like I always tell, like the new recruits, hey, it's 80% mindset, 20% mechanics. I have the same comp plan like you. We have the same product. We have the same leaders. Nothing is different. Your mindset will determine if you're going to be successful or not. So I give them baby steps. Okay, for example, my product, how I always want to help someone start is I always want them to become a customer first. I usually have never found success someone starting a business without trying the product. And I don't like bringing people into the business that have never tried the product. I don't like it personally, because when you talk, like people are creatures of feelings, not words. So if I'm telling you about something and I haven't tried it, you can sense that, Monica, just like anybody can. And so someone starts a business just for the money reason. Don't get me wrong, that's not a bad goal. But people can sense if you're real or not. So I always tell people, look, become a raving fan customer first. Raving fan, get a story, get a testimonial, see the value, and then start to do the business. So that's step number one. Step number two, I say, let's help you get your product for free. Once they see that the product can be for free, which is extremely easy, then they start to see that, hey, it's getting real. Getting real, because I'm not promising anything. I'm like, hey, look, just let's help you get your product for free. And then now they're in love with the product and they get it for free. So now it's step three. Let's help you go a little bit farther, a little bit farther. And then I keep running with them to the point that they become independent, that they have all the tools. Not independent to the point that like I never speak to them again, no. But independent as a, you know what, they're capable to sell and build a team and to build their own leadership. So now they're independent. They went baby step by baby step, and now they're confident. Now they're confident. You know, that could be an extra $500 a month. I mean, like I always tell people, look, what an extra $200 to $300 a month. Nothing crazy, nothing big. People say, you know what? That's pretty attractive. How can I do that? Become a Raving Fan customer, get your product for free, and then let's go a little bit beyond that. I always try to do this with my new people, and I've seen that when you do this, there's great retention because then more people stay with you.
Right. Yeah. And again, what you said is so true for any business, because you have to have raving fans. And even if you don't necessarily use the product that you're creating, you've probably created the product out of a need that you have experienced. Yes. I know that's the case for our first business. Was my husband and I started this business because we wanted really cool fraternity and sorority gear to wear. And it just wasn't very, very cute back then. So we set out to make it look good and be really high quality. And so that is how we've grown that business over the years.
Awesome.
Well, I'm like super excited about your success. And I appreciate you taking the time to teach me and explain to me, because I know that there are people out there who desire to be business owners, even if not full-time, but to some degree, part-time or as a side hustler. And I'm just meeting you really here today for the first time, but I do think that may be a good fit for someone. That type of business may be a good, kind of step inside the door of entrepreneurship after doing your due diligence and talking to the right people,
Yeah, for sure. And this business could be for anybody, honestly. It's not for everybody, but it can be for anybody. I would say, and this, as a business owner, Monica, not everybody has the knack to be business owner. Let's just be honest. Okay.
True.
And there are people that have a product and know how to sell, for example. Okay. And then they decide to become business owners. But what they forget is that there's a lot more things to business. You have to manage your taxes. You have to pay the employees. There's so many things that are complex, which is why so many people fail in business, because they don't manage their expectations. They think, I'm just going to sell product because I'm the best here. I made the best cream in the world. I can build it. And then they fail because it's so complex. And then like, oh man. And again, this could be a failing forward process. What this industry, network marketing, is for the people that want to focus on selling and building a team, and then increasing the productivity of that team, because all of the other complex situations are done for you. So if you have that type of model, there's freedom. For example, just in May, my parents, it was the 30th anniversary, and my parents they wanted to do something really big, so we went to the West Coast, California, Arizona, Nevada. It's a fantastic trip, and of course, it's my sister, my brother, everybody else. I decided to not work those 2 weeks. I kept working. I traveled. I ate. We drank, and my business was growing. In those 2 weeks, people were buying. People were selling. Why? Because I systemized my business to the point that can be done without me. That's the magic of this industry. So again, can you do this in any business? Can you systemize? Of course you can. I'm not saying that, like this, like this is only my industry. Of course not. Okay. The business principles of my industry and all business, it's the same principles. Don't get me wrong. But someone like me who's 19, who had no money, no experience, can just tap in and get all this personal development, all of these skills, all of these tools. And I just have to learn and practice it. And at the same time, get freedom and do things that I wanted to do. Oh, it was a game changer. So, for everybody that is interested and maybe wants to start this business, and then maybe, who knows, maybe they start network marketing, they learn, and then they build their own business. Cool. That's awesome. But they learn the principles. They learn, they know how to systemize. And then once they learn, then they create their own business. But I think freedom and not having so many things to manage in the business is what attracts people to this industry.
Yeah, that definitely makes sense. There are definitely in a business a lot of moving parts that I still am learning about some days.
Yeah.
Buying a piece of property and having an office there and paying taxes on that. And, payroll, you mentioned payroll, making sure people's taxes are done correctly. And it definitely is a lot to it. So thank you for pointing out the those kind of pros and cons there. That's very valid. So let me ask you, what is a challenge or obstacle you've had to overcome in your life that has made you stitched for success?
So many. I think we could do a podcast just on this, just on obstacles, right? Well, you know what? I was never the best student in the world. And I think it was because of my lack of focus, probably ADD, who knows, honestly. But I always knew I could do better, always. And I never did when I was younger. Okay. So when I came to this industry, I had a lot of this thinking still that I'm the guy who couldn't finish a task of school because I had too much energy. I'm the guy who wasn't great at school. I'm the guy who failed 2 times in their driving test. You're following me? So these things were replaying in my mind without me noticing. So I was scared of failure. I was terrified of failure. So guess what? When you're terrified of failure, you don't want to do anything new. You don't want to practice anything. And if you're scared of failure, you will not be a successful entrepreneur. That's my message to everybody. If you're scared of failure, you will not be a successful entrepreneur. I've never seen it happen. I've never seen it, like an entrepreneur who started from scratch and never failed. It's never happened and it will never happen. So I had to embrace failure. I had to see failure as a friend. But I wasn't born with this. As you know, I wasn't. I had to read. I had to listen to podcasts. This is why I love podcasting so much, Monica, because it helps me. It helps me rechange my thinking. It shifts my thinking. So if Gianco is thinking differently, now I listen to podcasts with Monica, and now I think different. Gianco's growing. Now, if Gianco's thinking, like in a scarcity mindset, that there's not enough money around. I'm failing too much. Whatever. Now I read a book of with John Maxwell, and I see that he failed, and he's sold over 30 million books. Wait a second. I see Steve Jobs fail, and then I see all this failure, and I start to see failure different. I say, whoa, failing forward, to be successful, I have to fail forward. I have to. So now if I succeed, I celebrate. And if I fail, I celebrate. Why? Because I learned. I figured out something about my personality, about my habits, about my business. And I'm happy. I said, okay, I failed here. Yes, because now I know what to do different. So I really had to work on that. And I've said this in a lot of podcasts, and I mean it from my heart. I had to embrace failure, see it as a friend. Once I remember reading this in the car, actually. We were on our way to a place here in Georgia. And I had this book by John Maxwell somewhere here. It's called The Power of Five. Mm-hmm. And then I read Failure is Your Friend. And that was like a light bulb moment, Monica. It was a light bulb. I said, failure is my friend. And then I started to learn all the moments that I failed. And I realized I had all those memories super vivid in my brain. And they helped me shape, they shaped my life. So since that day, I've seen failure as a friend. And since seeing failure as a friend, I'm a happier person. And it's a lot easier for me to succeed because I'm not scared to fail and to learn from it.
Wow. Yeah. Failure is a part of it. I will say that. I think for me, I definitely don't like to fail, but it's just part of the journey. And you learn from it and you pick yourself up and you keep on trucking is the goal, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And you know what? Something else about failure is failure also means not taking yourself too seriously at times. Like for example, yesterday for some reason I have no idea. I just had no confidence. I have no idea why. I was just like my confidence was just in the floor. Generally, I was with a friend, and I felt like I couldn't even give my best self to my friend. Which I felt bad because he came from another state, and I did an interview, and I know myself enough to know when I'm not feeling confident. And it's been a long time since I feel this way. Why, Monica? Clueless. I don't know. But my point is, yesterday you asked me if I want to do this podcast. No, I didn't. Why? Not because I don't want to talk to you or to give value. It's because I was creating stories that were not true. I was thinking maybe I will transmit this on confidence. Maybe maybe I'm going to transmit and not speak well and stutter too much. These stories start to pop up. But then I realized, wait a second, this is part of the journey. I have to do it even when I don't feel like doing it. And guess what? I'm energized. I'm happy to be talking to you. I'm happy, that I'm talking to your audience. But, this is also something very important about entrepreneurship in general, is consistency even when you're not feeling like it, even when you're not at your best. And this practice will develop your character. And with strong character, strong success.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. And consistency is definitely a big key part of it. Continuing to go, continuing to try, continuing to push forward. So now you've been in business for 4 years.
Yep.
You have grown to over 7 figures. Let's dig a little bit deeper though. What would you say is one of the biggest successes you've experienced in your business so far?
When the pandemic started last year, there was fear and opportunity, right? And I remember speaking to my family and my parents. They were like, what's going to happen to our business? Because, you watch the news and you're like, everybody's losing their job, everybody's losing money, all these things. So, of course, fear starts to kick in. And I remember after so many years of personal development, of reading and listening, this kind of popped up in my head. And I realized, wait a second, this is a time of opportunity. And let me explain all this. I'm not saying that the pandemic was good. No, we've lost too many lives. The pandemic has been horrible. Okay. But we always have an option, Monica, to live in fear or live in opportunity. Always. Okay. And no matter the circumstance. So I realized, wait a second, our product helps so many people with the immune system. For me, I'm convinced, actually not for me, I will say this is the best immune system product in the world. No doubt in my heart and knowledge. So I said, wait a second, this can help people with the immune system. People are going to be more aware than ever about the immune system than ever. Okay. And again, with this, I'm not making no claims with COVID-19. Absolutely not. But if you have a strong immune system, scientifically, you will be able to fight both viruses. It's just the way it is. So I said, this is an opportunity to help a lot of people. And I remember this was the mindset I put in my mind. Now, just like you and just like everybody, I don't know what's going to happen to my business. I don't know if it's going to go down or go up, but I kept this mindset. And it's because of this mindset, I told my parents, they agreed. Our business grew like 4 times.
Wow.
More than ever in our life. Why? Because we help more people than ever. We help more people than ever. We educated people about glutathione, about the immune system more than ever. People were making wise decisions. And our income grew, you have no idea, because of this mindset. So that would be probably my most successful moment. I've had a lot of moments. In 2018, there was a contest for a top leader in a certain rank in my company. I didn't know I was going to win it. And while we're in the convention in Anaheim, California, they called my name and someone else. And I said, me? And, I was like a little kid. I think I have the trophy right here. I think I have it right here. And they called my name and I won the trophy as one of the top leaders of the company right here. And I would say that was such a proud moment of my life because I never thought this would happen. And it's not to boast. Absolutely not. It's just, it's one of those things that I was there and not expected to win. And I don't know where Gian-Carlo Torres, me, you know what I mean? Like me. And, it was, even though it has my name, I always say the same thing. It really has my mom and I's name. Okay. Because we've worked this together and, have failed together, have cried together. And it was a really proud moment that, hey, you know what? Once you make the decision and you fail forward, great things can happen. So I would say those 2 moments were definitely the proud moments of my life.
Wow. Well, congratulations. And I'm so glad your business did well last year. We actually finished off in our last quarter last year higher than we have ever had before.
Congratulations.
So thank you. And, what I have found now is we're going into 2021 and oh my gosh, it's moving so fast. but the goal is just to continue to push forward and to be better and provide better service and provide customers with more comfort and more resources. So I'm so proud of you. That is fantastic. And the fact that you started this so young, I love it. I love it. So that's so good.
Thank you.
I can't wait to interview you like 10 years from now and see where you are. So it's going to be amazing. You're going to say, yes, I just had a 8-9 figure year, So.
Thank you. Well, I love this conversation already. So it's this conversation will definitely lead us both to great things. I'm sure about this.
Yes, I'm excited. And one of the reasons I really wanted to provide this podcast to people is, sometimes I interview people and I meet them through other people, and it's a variety of ways of connections. But like you've really enlightened me today. I didn't know anything about direct marketing. Or direct sales. I've never done it before. And who knows who you'll touch and be able to change their lives in some way. So I really appreciate you taking the time to talk with me today.
Oh, it's my pleasure, honestly. For me, it's always about education and understanding. I want to educate everybody to the point that they understand what we're talking about. So again, it's my absolute pleasure to talk about this topic.
Well, I appreciate you. And so how would people find out more about you, more about your product that you provide, more about the opportunity to try entrepreneurship?
Yes.
Tell me about that.
Yeah. So, I'm going to do a couple of ways. So if someone wants to have a consultation with me with the product, okay, then just type, "This is Gianco." So this is Gianco. My nickname, this is Gianco.com. That's more a product website. Okay. It's a personal website. Just a little bit more about my story. And then you can email me or send me a text message to have a consultation, because what happens if someone just wants to try the product, they can go to my regular company link and buy it. Okay. Like Amazon, they can do that. And, that's fine. No problem at all. But I want the person to have the ultimate experience. Okay. And to get the ultimate experience is I would like to speak to them, see what problem they have and how I can solve that problem with the right dosage.
Okay.
You follow me? I want them to have the best product experience they can ever have in their life. So if for the audience and for the ones listening, if you want to have that consultation, just go to thisisgianco.com and you can schedule a consultation and I will talk to you. Okay. Now, if you just want to follow me and know who I am and probably know about the business and how it works, just go to my social media. Go to Instagram. This is Gianco, public. Follow me. Send me a DM. Facebook, my full name, Gian-Carlo Torres. Find me on Facebook. Again, send me a message. Follow me. Send me a friend request. All good. And if you're professional, you can also send me a link through a friend invite through LinkedIn. Okay. And I'll also have a conversation. Again, if whoever just wants to be my friend, that's also an option too.
Well, we can reach you on all the social media channels. So that's great. That's right. So definitely. Thank you so much for your time today. I really do appreciate you. And I'm so proud of you. I didn't start my first business. Well, I started my first business in 4th grade, but I didn't start what I would consider like my real first business until I was about 28, 29, somewhere in there. But that's great.
You made the decision. That's what's important.
Yes. And I keep sticking with it.
That's it. Fail forward, my friend.
Yes. Well, Gianco, thank you so much for your time. I really do appreciate you now being in my friend circle. I appreciate you being part of the Stitch for Success guest and audience. So thank you so much for your time.
Monica, thank you. It's been an absolute pleasure.
I want to thank Gianco for joining me on the Stitch for Success podcast. I checked back in with him recently because we recorded this episode a few months back. He is set to finish 2021 over 7 figures as well and has had the best month ever this past November. If you do want to find out more about Gianco's direct sales firm, please feel free to check the show notes. All of his information is there. Also, in our interview, we use direct sales and multi-level marketing interchangeably. However, they are very different. In the direct sales business model, representatives sell a company's products or services directly to consumers. Think Avon, Tupperware, Mary Kay. With an MLM or multi-level marketing company, the representative not only makes money from selling the product or service, but they also make money from recruiting others into the company to sell the product and service as well. Just wanted to clarify that. But as I mentioned before, you want to make sure that you do your own research always. Are you ready for 2022? Do you set goals at the beginning of each year? Tony Robbins says, setting goals is the first step to turning the invisible into visible. However, not only is goal setting key, but knowing the right steps to take to achieve them is vital. I am hosting a free 3-day goals challenge. This challenge will take you from not just goal setting, but to goal getting, meaning actually achieving the goals you set and reaching what you desire in 2022. It is not a huge time commitment, just 45 minutes to an hour for 3 days. It will take place December 14th through December 16th at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Each session will be recorded if you cannot make the live sessions. When we are done at the end of the 3rd day, you will have a clear vision for 2022. If you normally set goals or if you do not, this challenge is for you. If you're interested in joining the challenge, please go to thegoalschallenge.com and leave me your name and email address. I will send you more info in the next few days regarding the Facebook group. Again, run, don't walk, to sign up at thegoalschallenge.com. Thank you so much for tuning in today. Follow me on Instagram and TikTok at Stitch for Success. Also, would love if you join the Stitch for Success Facebook group. On all of these platforms, I provide you with inspiration, support, and tips for running a successful business for the long term. If you haven't already, please subscribe and rate the podcast and share with a friend. Thanks again for listening and have a great one.